Most angry moments in ATP tennis history, Part 1. Tennis has always been and will continue to be a sport for gentlemen who want to show off their athleticism and grace on the court. As we know, superpowers often find themselves at odds with one another, and tennis is no exception. It's not hard to spot an ATP player in the middle of an argument, so in a couple of minutes, we'll take a look at some of the most heated exchanges between professional tennis players. Let's begin. John McEnroe, Wimbledon, 1981. John McEnroe is credited, or maybe that is blamed, for having made what is widely considered to be the most infamous angry outburst in the annals of sporting history during the third round of the 1981 Wimbledon Championships. Throughout his career, McEnroe never shied away from challenging the decisions of the umpires, line judges, or even his opponents. However, on this particular occasion, he really let loose. McEnroe delivered a service that the umpire ruled was out, despite the fact that there was a clear indication from chalk flying from the court surface that the ball was in. McEnroe's response, which became famous, was something along the lines of, "You cannot be serious. That ball was right in the middle." At this point, it was obvious that Johnny Mac's blood was boiling, but he refused to back down from his position. Although the umpire attempted to challenge his point, McEnroe continued to rant. It's a shame that this historic sporting event was marred by a blown call on the field because it was truly one of the most memorable moments in the history of the sport. Fernando Gonzalez, Miami Open 2007. During his match against Radek Stepanek at the Miami Open in 2007, Fernando Gonzalez, who is known for his fiery temper, did not hold back when it came to sending an angry message to his opponent. The rule that states you should play at the pace of the server was clearly broken when Stepanek took an excessive amount of time to get ready while Gonzalez was serving the ball. Even though it was in the early stages of the match, it was clear that this had been going on the entire time, and Gonzalez had reached his breaking point. After expressing his dissatisfaction to the referee, the Chilean player ultimately chose to take matters into his own hands. He unleashed a bomb of a serve, and Stepanek barely had enough time to get his racket on it before it was hit over the net. Fernando capitalized on the opportunity presented by the ball's height, which allowed for a smash. He smashed the ball right at Stepanek, hitting him in the back of the head with it. It was a sleazy move, but Fernando made it clear that he did not want to be messed with any longer by sending this message. David Nalbandian, Queens, 2012. David Nalbandian took out his frustrations in a very unwise way after losing the 2012 Queens final to the hard-hitting Croatian Marin Cilic. The match was set up so that Nalbandian would face Cilic. The Argentine failed to hit a forehand on the stretch and subsequently kicked out at the boardings that surrounded a chair used by a line judge. In a horrifying turn of events, the board gave way and shattered into pieces, one of which flew into the leg of the line judge, causing him to suffer a nasty cut. In the end, it was fortunate that the line judge did not sustain any injuries. However, for Nalbandian, this incident signified just one thing: instant disqualification. Just make sure you hit our subscribe button so you don't miss any tennis content. Now, continuing on with Novak Djokovic, Shanghai 2015. During the 2015 Shanghai Masters, Novak Djokovic's match against Jo-Wilfried Tsonga brought him to the point of boiling over, as he was incensed by an overrule made by the umpire. At the beginning of the second set, a ball was called out late, and despite the fact that Djokovic did not attempt to make a play on the ball, the umpire awarded the point to Djokovic's opponent. Djokovic argued that the umpire should not have called a foot fault because he clearly had the ability to hit the ball back if he wanted to, but the umpire claimed that the call came after Novak would have hit his shot, and the line judge later corrected his call. Djokovic's argument was rejected. Tsonga delivered a slice backhand shot in the very next game, which was subsequently challenged and wound up being on the line. Once again, Djokovic had a clear play on the ball and was in a position to easily return the shot. Despite this, the referee awarded Tsonga another point for his efforts. This infuriated Djokovic, and he proceeded to rant and rave the entire time until the end of the change of ends. Viktor Troicki, 2016 Wimbledon. Viktor Troicki let out a scream as the umpire overruled a serve that he believed to be obviously out during his match against Ramos Vinolas at the 2016 Wimbledon Championships. The outburst that Troicki had on the court was one of his best, and he's known for having them. He quickly grabbed the ball and urged the umpire to look at it, indicating that there was no chalk on the ball and that it must have been a considerable distance beyond the line as a result. His screams were so loud that they could be heard all the way across the grounds. Grigor Dimitrov, Istanbul, 2016. On the tennis court, Grigor Dimitrov does not hide his feelings, whether they are positive or negative. He does this without fear. The Bulgarian player delivered one of the most jaw-dropping finishes to a tennis match that any of us ever witnessed in the championship match of the Istanbul Open in 2016. However, rather than producing an outrageous winner, Dimitrov was disqualified from the match after breaking a total of 3 rackets. This meant that the match did not result in an outrageous winner. After splitting the first 2 sets of the match with his opponent, Diego Schwartzman, both of which were won on tie breaks, he was extremely frustrated throughout the entirety of the match. After that, however, Dimitrov committed a series of unforced errors, and the third set began to quickly get away from him as a result. Dimitrov made the decision to end the match on his terms by destroying another racket when Schwartzman was leading the third set 5-love and was on the verge of winning the match. Dimitrov was aware that he would receive a final code violation, which would result in him being disqualified from the match. What an unusual way to get eliminated from a competition. Novak Djokovic French Open 2018. At the 2018 French Open, when Novak Djokovic was playing Marco Cecchinato, he made a fervent appeal to the Parisian crowd to be quiet while the points are being played. A spectator yelled out just as Djokovic was about to hit a forehand approach shot while he was in the middle playing a crucial point in the 4th set. Djokovic was about to win the point. After that, he shanked the ball way up into the crowd, which caused him to yell and put his finger to his mouth as he pleaded with the crowd to be quiet. Djokovic would ultimately end up losing the match, after which he would give one of the most abrupt press conferences we have ever witnessed. Nick Kyrgios, Cincinnati, 2019. Nick Kyrgios has a reputation for being one of the most outspoken and fiery-tempered tennis players on tour. However, at the 2019 Cincinnati Open, he took his antics to an entirely new level. He was competing against Karen Khachanov, a tennis player known for his polite demeanor and preference for keeping things straightforward on the court. However, as a result of severe disagreements with the chair umpire, Nick was in a particularly foul mood. Throughout the course of the game, he was overheard cursing out the referee and exclaiming on multiple occasions, "This is the worst ref ever!" Nick was so concerned about breaking the rules that he actually took 2 of his rackets off the court and smashed them to pieces in the locker room after he finished playing. This was easily one of the most foul-mouthed and petulant outbursts we've ever witnessed, especially considering the fact that it lasted for the entirety of the match. Nick Kyrgios, Rome 2019. Nick once again lost his cool, this time at the 2019 Rome Masters, during a match that initially appeared to be conducted in a reasonably good-natured manner. The Australian then noticed some spectators walking around and chatting while he was in the middle of his service. Kyrgios was obviously distracted by this, and it was clear that he was becoming increasingly frustrated. It was reported that he was yelling obscenities at the spectators before destroying his tennis racket and hurling a chair across the court. It should not come as a surprise that this led to Nick being disqualified from the match, and shortly thereafter, it went viral on various social media platforms. Wow, these were some intense moments in ATP tennis history. It's always fascinating to see the raw emotions that these incredible athletes display on the court. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting tennis videos.